So the race to large language model continues. Who has the biggest model? Whether it's Meta, whether it's OpenAI, AWS, I don't think they're in the race, or Anthropic and a couple of other providers. There's always a new language model to talk about. So today we have the Llama 3, which was released about 10 days back from the house of Meta. Now Meta has released Llama 3 and is available in two variants. First is pre-trained and instruction tuned variant, and in options of 8 billion and 70 billion. I'm guessing 8 billion is the one that you'll probably want to use for most of the use cases, and we'll see some of the benchmarks, and 70 billion is well reserved for larger use cases. This is still not available in India, so I was not able to take it for a spin, but I'm going to talk about some key features and move over to some other areas like their Git pages and all to talk about, not just stick to this. All right, so they have done a little bit of fun in here when it comes to training, and we'll talk about what kind of data they have. So like every large language model, there's nothing new. Everybody talks about better performance, everybody talks about benchmarks. Here are the benchmarks for Llama 3. Obviously it's the best model as per Meta, and it beats other models. Obviously it will be better than Meta Llama 2 and all of that. What they're also showcasing is Llama 3 8 billion is better than Gemma 7 billion instruction tuned and Mistral 7 billion instruction tuned, which is quite a leap. Also they are talking about that the Llama 3 70 billion is better than Gemini Pro 1.5, which I could really see that happening. But the best piece which I'm really confused is they competed with Claude 3 Sonnet, not with Claude 3 Opus. So in my previous video about Claude and really singing their praises, I really liked the Opus model because the kind of answers it was giving and the reasoning and the ability to do RAG was just incredibly nice. So it's very interesting that they have not compared themselves to Claude 3 Opus model, which is the biggest model of the lot. Now after this, along with this, they have added some additional components which is for responsible development. Now there's a responsible use guide which provides how could you develop more responsibly with large language models, and the whole idea of privacy, security, compliance is really hot with large language models. So probably they have introduced a framework to kind of talk about it. And if you see up top the options that they have technology, getting started, trust and safety, and they are talking of two components, the Llama Guard and the responsible use guide. So here you can see at system level there's Llama Guard and Meta Code Shield, which I'll just open up and show it to you guys what it is. Along with this, at the model level, it's pretty much the same stuff. You define, you prepare, you train, and essentially evaluate and improve. And the Llama Guard would be an interesting component to see. Now, as with every other large model, they'll want you to try. There's a GitHub repository, there's a model card, which we'll take a look at it. Let's hop on to the trust and safety part. So the idea that they are propagating is how do you enable developers advance more safety and bring safety and compliance within your LLM ecosystem. So that's what this tooling is around. They have an approach around it. There's some sort of guideline level components, and then they introduce what kind of cyber security evals that they are doing. You can read about the research paper, and then a lot of different guidelines and testing for how do you avoid prompt injection, how do you avoid cyber attacks, how do you work with cyber security capabilities, and etc. So that's what they have introduced and talked about. The system level safeguards, I think as per them, certain compliances are better at Llama Guard 2, while some of them are better at GPT-4. They still don't talk about any other model compared to it. I think the comparison is still with GPT. So I think the way I'm thinking about this model sits somewhere after Opus, but alongside or maybe parallel to GPT-4 in terms of capability. Would be very interesting to see later benchmarks published around how can this model compete against tasks like summarization, RAG, etc. Alright, quick drop in. If you're new to my channel, I talk a lot about large language models, software architecture, system design, pretty much just share my experience. I'm really not guided by what YouTube recommends me to talk about or what's moving in this space. Yeah, it does get me fewer views, but you can definitely help it, and probably like and subscribe, and it'll help reach more people. So that's what this is about. And then again, this is more of the second page, which is the responsible use guide. It's more of a white paper that they have published. It has a lot of deep content as to how do you want to build LLMs using responsible components. And the word responsible could be, it's by far and large, but technically it could refer to biases, it could refer to fair practices, it could refer to ability to capture good training data, it could refer to avoiding cyber attacks, it could refer to compliance, it could refer to prompt injection techniques, and all sorts of fail-safe mechanism. So that's what this talks about, and this is a very, very exhaustive guide, probably a video for another day, but it does talk about a very interesting perspective. And finally, there's good detail from a player in this space, which is talking about how to build more responsibly with LLMs. And a lot of people have been talking about it, by the way, but I haven't stumbled upon a guide. All right, moving forward, let's just hop on to the GitHub page. Yeah, I did see somewhere the sizing and the data part. Maybe it's in the model card. Yeah, model card. I would want to read the model card. So the model details are this. The training data is a new mix of publicly online data. So the knowledge cutoff is March 2023 for 8 billion and December 2023 for 70 billion. So the model at 70 billion would be really interesting, because it would have a lot of real world information. Like December 2023 is just 4 months old, so it would probably have new world events that have been taking place. It would have economic understanding. It would have by now synthesized a lot of information about COVID. And interestingly, what they have done during training is I think I read it somewhere here about the data. 7 million instruction code. I think it was somewhere here. I think I read the amount of data that they had. A lot of it, or about some percentage of it, was code. So that this model has interesting abilities to work with code. I don't know where I read it. I'll probably have to check back to it. It's probably on the website itself. Is it? No. Yeah, okay, here is it. So in the benchmarks, it says that the training data includes 4 times more code and 7 times larger text compared to Llama 2. So what they're trying to do is make models which can perform better coding tasks. I'm guessing that's the intent, which is why they would have done this. All right, and then there are some hardware and software utilizations, like Llama 3 8 billion time GPU hours 1.3 M. I don't know what's M, probably minutes. No, but that doesn't make sense. It wouldn't train in minutes, or maybe it's hours or something. I don't know what unit it is. Power consumption is 700 watt and carbon emitted is pretty less. Let's Google what the 7.7 M hours refer to. That's 6 hour M GPU hours of computation. Oh wow, it says 6 hours of entire nuclear reactor. I don't really know what does this translate to, but it's interesting to watch this. Right, so yeah, 6 hours of nuclear reactor would be a lot of power, I would imagine. And here are some details about the training data that they have, and what sort of knowledge reasoning details that they have taken upon. And it's progressively better than Llama 2 as expected. So to cut the story short now, there are some interesting capabilities about safety and security and how could you build more responsibly using large language models. But beside that, it's just a regular update on Llama 2. You'll probably get better answers, more awareness of knowledge given the cutoff is more recent, and that's pretty much it. Maybe a little better at generating code itself, but I don't see anything beyond that upfront until I give it a shot. It's not available in India, which is why I've not been able to try. I might hop off to the Hugging Face library and just give it a shot from there, but I don't think they have the 70 billion option. Okay, they do have it. Alright, so I'll probably give it a shot and update you guys. Cheers, that's me talking about large language models. See you in the next video. Bye bye.